Hey guys, it's Linux Next Year. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the new features that are coming to Cosmic and that are already included. Because of my last video with the Alpha 1 release, there has been a couple of features that have been added to the Cosmic desktop, and there has been a ton of fixes when it comes to bug fixes, but there is also a decent amount of bugs that I have experienced when using the desktop that I continue to see, and I hope that they do fix these bugs in the future, but that is what we're going to show in today's video. And the features that I would like to see in the Cosmic desktop in the future. Now you may be wondering, what is the Cosmic desktop? You randomly clicked on this video, what is Cosmic desktop? Well, it is a desktop environment. There's a thing on Linux where you have, these GUIs that you can click on, click around, kind of like with the Windows desktop, right? Similar to that, but it's made by a company called System76. They sell laptops, they sell desktops, they also do servers, keyboards, and they also do create and maintain the POPOS Linux distro. So they decided to make their own desktop environment as on POPOS. They've been using GNOME 42 currently, I think it's what it's at right now, and they've been maintaining that, and they have been wanting to make their own desktop. So that is what they're doing, and that is what I'm running currently right now, is the Cosmic desktop. And as you can see here, is visions enacted, users empowered. Cosmic is a software platform for designing beautiful user experiences. The new desktop environment, we aim to liberate the computer with a new desktop environment powerful enough to build a custom OS experiences for users, developers, and makers of any device with a screen. As you can see, here's a preview, and if you look at my desktop, here is a preview of the Cosmic desktop. It does look pretty nice the way that I have designed it with the themes, and then also I've got a dock at the bottom and a panel at the top. But if you don't know, you can customize the hell out of Cosmic also. So you can make the panel hide completely if you want to, and then put all your applets on your dock if you want to, vice versa. You can really customize it the way you'd like it, and that's what I like about Cosmic desktop, I would say. Now, the first feature that arrived in the Cosmic desktop was the sound settings that have been implemented. So if we go to the settings icon here and we go to sound, wow, there is now an output and an input section for configuring your audio devices. So now you can just easily select the audio devices. So this is my audio interface where I have my IEMs plugged into it and my microphone, as you can see, and it all works perfectly fine. I was able to switch between it really easy, and you can select the different profiles as well. Now, what I do hope to see in the sound settings, I do hope to see applications being included in the sound section, or it's like an applet where you can like change each volume of application or like process that is running that has a sound that's outputting. So for example, you can do this on KDE Plasma. You can like pull up a little panel thing and it shows all your applications where you can change the audio for each device, or you can mute said application that is outputting volume. So like on the panel on KDE Plasma, there is a little mute button, so you can just press it to just mute the application, or you can do it in the actual like sound panel itself. But I would really like to see that. That would be really nice if that was either in the actual settings, or if it was just like an applet, that would work also. Either made by System76, or someone gets to creating a applet, or even myself. Maybe I'll try and create an applet, even though I have no coding experience at all, so that might be a bit difficult for me. But if System76 does do it, that would be really great to see. Now, the other one that was merged was two options in the window management section. One is for focus navigation. So there's two options. There's focus follows cursor and cursor follows focus. So when you have an application open, I was just testing this just before, and it doesn't seem to work with every application. For example, with files, if I click on files, what is supposed to happen is the cursor is supposed to quickly go to that window, the application you decided to click on. So if I do it on my terminal, for example, here is my terminal. If I click on the terminal, my cursor is supposed to follow to that said window. If I put it over here, then the cursor follows over. You can't see this, but I just clicked on that, and then my cursor just went over to the terminal. If my cursor is like, let's say my cursor is on my second monitor, and I click the terminal icon on my dock, then what's going to happen is the cursor is going to quickly go over to that application. So I clicked on the terminal application, the cursor moved quickly over to the terminal application. But if said applications are on the monitor where your cursor is, the cursor will not follow to that said application. So I would say those are two really neat features. It brings a lot of more, like, I guess, accessibility to other users that want to turn those things off. For me, I just turn them off because I just like to move my cursor around wherever. I don't really have cursor follows focus. Like, I don't really like how the cursor jumps to a different window. I kind of like lose the cursor, so I just turn them off. But it is really nice that those are available. Now, one of the important features that have been introduced is the X11 scaling options that you can choose from. So it's very similar to KDE Plasma with their scaling options. So you can see here. And the display options, you can see X11 Windows System Application Scaling. So you can scale all X11 applications. X11 applications will appear blurry on high DPI screens, which was what was enabled by default, and you couldn't change that. So now they've added these two features where you can choose, and this one is render X11 applications at native resolution. X11 applications that don't support scaling will be small when high DPI displays are in use. Enable for games to utilize the full monitor resolution. So that can also happen if you enable that, then whatever game you launch on, like let's say like some ultra wide 4K or 1440p monitor, then it's going to scale that game all the way to the max resolution instead of just if you enable the regular one where the X11 application will appear blurry, it's probably not going to do that. Now, one of the other features that I can't get working, and I'm pretty sure it's because of specific device support, is if you have like, let's say a mouse that is wireless and it is supported in the kernel or whatever System76 uses for picking up devices, it will show up in the power and battery settings. So for me, I have a Lamzu Atlantis. This is a gaming mice. It does not get picked up, and same with my Logitech G303 Shroud Edition, that also doesn't get picked up in the power and battery thing. Even though it doesn't really matter, I don't care. This mouse will just start flashing red if it gets low powered, but it is really nice that is an option. I know if you have like a Bluetooth device also, I'm pretty sure those show up in the power and battery setting now with a percentage of like how much battery is left on the device. And if you have a laptop, that also shows the battery percentage in the power and battery setting option now. And there is some other smaller things, like in the time and language, you can show seconds now on your clock. I actually do have this enabled on all panels on my KDE Plasma desktop. I have 3 panels and they all have the seconds applied, so I can just see more of a in-depth of what the time is. Now, of course, there is some other things that are still missing, like the firmware page that isn't set up properly, and the user page that's not set up properly either yet. There may be some other things that I am missing that aren't fully done. Most of these are all filled out, I would say. Yep, these are all filled. Yep, yeah, sound, keyboard, mouse, like everything seems to be around in this setting application. There doesn't seem to be anything else. Oh, region and language, that's the other one that is missing currently when it comes to the UI being finished. It's not finished yet. So there's still a couple of things, and there's probably tons of other things that the Cosmic developers want to add into the settings application. And one other thing I forgot to show is the terminal customization, as I didn't show it in the Alpha 1 release. When I watched over the video again, I did not show it. If we do go to the settings page of the terminal application, we can see that we can change all types of things of the appearance. We can change the theme, the color scheme light version, the zoom steps, the background opacity, the font size, advanced font settings as well if you want to go really in depth in the font. Typing focus follows mouse, that's quite interesting that you can do that. And you can show the header or not show the header, so you can make it look really clean, as I've seen some people like to do that. They like to take away the header and then the terminal looks really clean when it comes to like when it's in a tiling mode or something like that. It looks really nice. Now you may be wondering what is coming in the future of the Cosmic desktop. As you can see, that was like the thumbnail of the video, is like what's next. And one of the features that I did notice that one of the developers is working on is the network setting in Cosmic settings. So they're going to be adding, I saw looking through here, I'm pretty sure there's some of it. Yeah, there's a networking branch that is open right now that Stick is working on, or Michael. Michael is working on the network section, and he seems to be doing a really good job. He seems to be submitting like so many commits, improving it. It seems like there's going to be VPN, there's going to be Wi-Fi, there's going to be like configuring like Ethernet settings. There seems to be airplane mode also being added. So that's really cool that those are being added. Hopefully it gets added soon so we can like test it out in the master branch of Cosmic settings. And there's a couple other little things that need to be added, like not little, I would say, VRR and HDR. HDR is a big one, of course, that will probably be later down the line when Cosmic is probably maybe in the beta stages, or maybe when it's fully released, it might be not ready. It may be ready in a more stable version of Cosmic. But when it comes to VRR, I think that might be added in the beta stage of Cosmic, and I would really like it. Plus, I would really like VRR plus screen tearing. So if the Cosmic developers are watching, I would really like to see the tearing Wayland protocol that you can use to get tearing on like, let's say, a full screen application. So like games specifically, as I know KDE Plasma is going to introduce it in Plasma 6.2. They're going to introduce it when the kernel 6.12 releases, as there is a API change or API improvement to the way the atomic mode API works in the kernel, where it turn on the immediate flips, I think it's called, where you can get screen tearing. And so when you combine it with the Wayland screen tearing protocol, then it actually decides to work properly. And then when you combine it with VRR, you can go like, oh, okay, I turned VRR on. my range is like 120 hertz on like FreeSync Premium. Then when I go over that 120 hertz range, then the screen can tear, or it can be up to the user. They can also disable it, like what Katie Plasma has in her settings. You can just disable it if the person doesn't want screen tearing. But it would be really nice to have someone who likes to play a lot of competitive multiplayer games, like the Finals, for example, or Overwatch, or Apex, or X-Defiant, or Halo Infinite, etc., etc. Having screen tearing is a really good option. It does lower the latency by a little bit, and you can notice it if you have been playing on like Wayland for a while, and then you switch to like Windows, for example, which is always like screen tearing when you go over the VRR, and then you actually do notice that there is quite a different little bit of latency, I would say. There's a little latency difference. And of course, the other one is about gaming. Gaming on Cosmic has been a long process, and it's going to continue to be a long process when it comes to things that have been fixed. I have been maintaining this issue for a couple of months now, I would say. I started it in May, so yeah, quite a long time I have been maintaining it, and it's had a decent amount of comments, around 73, and I have been just testing my library of games that I have installed on my system, and just testing it on different hardware to see what happens. And as you can see, games like Overwatch 2, for example, I said in full screen, you cannot select anything using the mouse. Also, you can create 2 Overwatches, so if you actually right click, you can spawn 2 Overwatches on 2 different monitors. Pretty cool that you can do that. You just move the cursor on second monitor back and then forth, and it will spawn. The game over there, well, the game does not list a refresh rate above 60, which is also true. Some games, for some reason, do not detect. My monitor the game is launched on is 144 hertz. Even though the game is actually running at 144 hertz still, it's just showing 60 hertz for some reason. It might be just something that is just not able to detect properly. But as you can see, something like X-Defiant, for example, that does work. But when you do switch the refresh rate to 144 hertz, the game will freeze. So as you can see, that's just another issue. But the game does work if you don't enable that, or if you don't switch to like full screen to like borderless. There's tons of games that do the same thing, where if you switch to full screen to borderless, the game will just freeze, or the screen will freeze, but the game will continue to play in the background. There's also things like invisible cursors happening in some games, where you can't click the UI, or the cursor is actually just invisible, or the game launches properly and you can hear it, but it doesn't actually launch on your monitor. It just plays in the background basically, and you can't click on anything, and you have to just close the game. But as you can see, there is a decent amount of games that are working now, and it will just be something that the Cosmic developers will just continue to work on over time, and I'll just continue testing on different hardware and just continuing to compile the new master branch just to see which games start working properly. And one other bug that I would like to say about Cosmic is that when you launch any type of game, so you launch it on this monitor that you're seeing right now, you can't actually tab out of the game necessarily. Sometimes, depending on the game, if it's like a buggy or not on the Cosmic, you can move the cursor out and you're all good. But you can't actually display an application over that game as well. So if that game's launched, you basically have to move it with your workspace. You would have to like move the application to a new workspace, or go to a new workspace and then launch those applications. And then when you want to continue playing the game, you go back to the other workspace to then continue playing the game. And I guess I'll show off some games that are working. So I know Apex Legends is working properly. If we do click launch on here, it should come up on our screen and we can start playing it. As you can see, it is launching. It also does detect Manga HUD now. I do remember that Manga HUD wasn't working properly on Cosmic. One of the developers said that they needed to implement something in the compositor to get these overlays showing properly. So now it actually does show up properly, and that's really good to see. And as you see here, here we are. It's just loading. And yeah, we can go into training, or like the firing range, just to see how the gameplay looks when it comes to playing. Like I said before, some games that do launch, and there's some that don't. There's some that do some extreme glitching and tearing for some reason. Like for example, Doom Eternal is one game that when you launch, it launches in window mode first, and then it does some extreme flickering. I'll show it after Apex. It's really weird, and even my recording might actually be a bit weird as well, because of the actually desktop portal is also seems to be maybe having some little quirks here and there. But as you can see, the game is working properly. There's no real problems. The cursor doesn't escape. When it comes to switching to different modes, I did notice that if you do switch to display mode, the game will freeze. So it's just like another problem that will need to get fixed at some point. Alright, I guess I'll show off Doom Eternal. As I said, it does have some really weird issues, and this is just a warning. It's very like epileptic, so just watch out if you do get seizures from this type of stuff. I would totally skip ahead of this because it's definitely a warning. It's very flickery, I would say. And as you can see, see now, it goes through the intro, it loads, and then it just black screens and it chills. You can hear the music playing right now, and like I can't seem to select any menu stuff, but as you can see, it's just a black screen. So when it comes to playing games on Cosmic, it is not ready. Of course, it is an alpha, so there is going to be these issues where these games just straight up either do work, but you can't really, like, you can't tab out of it properly, or switching between borderless and full screen will freeze it, or all types of different little issues that will be fixed over time. Now, the bugs that happen on the Cosmic desktop is quite a few that I have experienced. If you did watch my Alpha 1 review, there was a couple of bugs that I experienced, like for example, the workspace switcher thing. The switcher like disappeared. That was one bug that I experienced. That doesn't happen anymore when I switch between workspaces. As you can see, it is working properly. And then I think another one that I mentioned was the app launcher, which I still do get, and for some reason, this doesn't happen on my laptop. I installed a bunch of applications on the home page to try and replicate the problem, and it wouldn't happen. But when I scroll here, like, it looks fine for now, but when I keep scrolling, it disappears. And I click on it again, it appears, and I scroll again. As soon as I get to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it disappears. So that's one bug that I've experienced, but it doesn't happen on the POPOS ISO of Cosmic. So I guess the developers or someone else will have to contribute a fix on the Arch, because I'm on Arch, so I'm guessing this might be an Arch problem with Cosmic, not necessarily a POPOS Cosmic problem. So someone else will have to test this and see if they can fix it. I don't know how to fix this necessarily. The other one is the same wallpaper on all displays. For some reason, when you untick this and you start like mucking around with individual monitors to change wallpapers, and then you click same wallpaper on all displays, sometimes, and not sometimes, it actually can replicate this pretty easily. You just, like, let's say I switch it to this one for this monitor, and then I go to this one and I switch it to this one, but then I click this one and then I want this wallpaper to be the same as all of them. It's not going to change all the monitors to that wallpaper. It's going to stick to the wallpapers that I changed. Or sometimes when you click same wallpaper, it will try to do it, and it may only get 2 of the monitors to actually change to the right wallpaper. Another bug that I'm experiencing right now is I'm trying to change the wallpaper back to this one, and as you can see, when I'm switching, it does not want to do it when I have same wallpaper on all displays, where it should be this one, but as you can see, when I'm trying to switch to a different wallpaper, it's not doing it. It's sticking to this Batman one that I have applied right now. And another bug that I did experience just before is I'm trying to launch GPU Screen Recorder, and I've closed GPU Screen Recorder, but the applets up here are still existing. And when I click exit, it won't close, even though GPU Screen Recorder is closed. These applets won't disappear. And same with VLC. I'm pretty sure VLC isn't open, and I can't even click on it to close it. When you click left click to bring up the little menu to close it, that's not opening either. So that's another bug that I've experienced. The other one is the Cosmic Store not being able to pick up Flatpak. So Flatpak doesn't appear right now on the Cosmic Store for me on my Arch system. It just hasn't happened. I have installed the Cosmic Git version 2 times now when hopping between vanilla Arch, and then I installed Endeavour OS. Both times installing Cosmic, the Flatpak doesn't appear. It does appear on my laptop of the POPOS ISO. It does appear properly where I can search Flatpak applications. That all works fine, but on here specifically on my Arch system, it's not appearing. So that may be another Arch issue, or it could be a Cosmic issue. I don't really know. And this one really isn't a bug, but when 2 different applications you install that are a system version, and this only happens sometimes. So like on Discord, for example, as you can see, I have the system version of Discord installed, and it's showing system and local. That's quite odd. I don't really understand the meaning between local and system. If someone could explain this in the comments, I would love to know. Just show one application instead of showing local and system. That may be like a type of like developer thing. I don't really know, but no other applications seem to do this. Like I have the system version of Desktop installed, and that doesn't appear twice. So it's not happening to every application. It's only happening to Discord, it seems. And then another one is a bug in Cosmic Files. So I have 2 SSDs mounted. I actually have a system partition, right, on my NVMe drive, and then I have my Windows partition, which is 100 gigabytes size, and then I have my games EC4 partition, and then I have my extra games EC4 partition, and they aren't showing up on the side of here, but on my laptop they do show up properly. if I plug in like a USB stick or something, but if I do plug a USB stick in here as well, it doesn't appear either. So I do have this USB stick here, which does have, I'm pretty sure it has a flashed distro installed on it, and when I do plug it into my computer, it does not show up in the Cosmic files, it seems. If I just wait, it doesn't seem like it picks up and then mounts and then I can access it, but if I do it on my laptop, it does work properly. So that might be either another Arch issue or a missing package on my end that I don't have, or it could be a Cosmic issue. I don't really know necessarily. And the last bug that I do get is when you launch a Windows application through Wine, like let's say a game launcher specifically, usually will create a little applet icon or like a little icon that gets pinned to a notification tray. So if you do this on Plasma or if you use GNOME with one of the extensions where you can get the little applet notification tray working, it will just pin to that notification tray. But on Cosmic, and it used to happen on GNOME a couple years ago, when you launch a Wine application, let's say Ubisoft launcher right now, it's going to launch a little window with the icon inside of it instead of being pinned to the notification tray. And as you can see, if you launch Ubisoft launcher here, we can see that the Ubisoft icon created its little own window, which used to happen on the GNOME desktop a couple of years ago. I do remember this. It used to create its own little window. I think it was maybe like GNOME 41, I think, or GNOME 40. I can't remember which one it was, but this used to happen and then it got fixed. And so the same issue is happening on Cosmic, and that's just because they just haven't implemented it yet for these Wine applications. I did open a bug report for this, so it probably will be seen by some Cosmic developer and then probably fixed at some point. But it is something that just happens. It makes its own little window. Now let's go into the features I would like to see in the Cosmic desktop. Now, as again, I am not a developer, so I can't really help when it comes to implementing new features and stuff. That stuff is way out of my league. I am just a Linux YouTuber. I really like Linux desktop. I like helping people set up games and stuff. So please don't comment that down below. Like, just do it yourself, because I'm not a developer. I'm just a general user who likes installing Linux, and I like technology. So I like to make these videos just to show awareness that there's these bugs, there's this, there's that, there's features that are arriving, show off some games and stuff like that. So what I said before, a while back in the video, where I wanted the sound control per application, that would be really cool. Implementing an application in the sound settings so that you can get more granular control with each application and like mute them if you want to. Then, as I said before, we have the screen sharing protocol in VRR that would combine it with VRR. So that would be really cool to have as well in the Wayland compositor of Cosmic. And then the other one would be when you're in files, you could hold control and then you can zoom in and out of making the files or folders bigger or smaller. I do this in Dolphin a lot. I just like to hold control and just zoom in and out, and it's a pretty simple feature that seems pretty easy to implement, I guess. I don't know the specifics, but it is something I would really like to have in the Cosmic files. And another one would be being able to change the way you list files and images. So I do that on Dolphin. Also, it's already the perfect one for me, so I'm not complaining necessarily, but I know for other people, they may want to show a list instead of these big pictures that you get to see here in folders. But one of the things I would like to have is in displays, you can set the nightlight to a specific level. I use nightlight in KD Plasma and on my phone, just so I can fall asleep a bit easier and my eyes don't necessarily strain as much from the blue light that's coming out from the monitors. Then the other one is keyboard shortcuts. So there is keyboard shortcuts in Cosmic, but you have to do it manually by typing each word and then adding plus to add an extra word / config that you want to do. So instead, I would like it if it was just an automatic way where you can just press down on individual keys. They're probably going to implement this at some point, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they'll do it where you can press down on each key and then it will combine it as one shortcut. That would be really nice to have. I know GNOME does it. I'm pretty sure KD Plasma does it also. You can just press down the keys you want to do and it just does it for you. And so you don't have to necessarily learn like what to do with each word and figure out the words you need to use for what you want to do. And the last feature I would like to have, and I heard from a developer that they can't do this because of how Wayland behaves, but I always wonder how KD Plasma does it, and it's to do with games launching on monitors. So depending where you place your cursor depends on where the game will launch. So if you place the cursor on this main monitor, it's going to launch on that monitor. If you place the cursor on this monitor I have over here on the left, it's going to launch on the left side. It's a similar approach to how GameScope works, where GameScope can not see your monitors, so it just bases the launch of the application based on where your cursor is, which I personally don't like because I'll have Steam on my second monitor and then I'll launch an application, I'll go off and do something, or I'll just be like on my phone phone or just looking at my monitor, and I won't realize that I have to move my cursor to my main monitor and the game will launch on my second monitor. In KDE Plasma, there's a way to show which monitor is the main monitor. Now, I don't know if that's even possible. I remember one of the developers said that it wasn't possible, and I was like, well, okay. But I do hope there is some way of doing it, either like some type of like, I don't know, hack or something that you can do to implement this feature properly, where games can launch on whichever your monitor is the main monitor. And I would say that's about it for this video. We went through a decent amount of things. There's so many more things that probably the Cosmic developers, System 76 themselves, are thinking of implementing in the Cosmic desktop, and there's going to be tons of fixes throughout the couple of months till like the end of the year. I think by the end of the year, Cosmic is going to be a really good desktop to use, and I bet you'll be able to play majority of your games maybe on Cosmic, and you'll be able to mostly just use the desktop and not really have as many issues. It might be like in that beta phase of Cosmic, not an alpha phase, and so it will just be a lot more stable. So if you guys did enjoy this video, definitely give it a like. You definitely can subscribe to the channel also. We are at like, I think, let me just check right now what we're at. We are at 6.3 thousand subscribers, or 6,335 to be exact, which is awesome to see. I appreciate all of you who continue to watch my videos, and thank you to my members also. I'll show a screenshot of them. I really do appreciate you guys giving me money every month, even though it's only like $1 or something like that. I still really do appreciate you guys doing that. And yeah, that's about the end of this video. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.